Hello, welcome back. You are with Love Dr. Pamela. Thank you for joining me as we do another talk on love and relationship and how to find love and get love and keep love. Now, as you see, I put in the description about, or in the title, correction, um, finding meaningful relationships as you get older. What is it that it takes to have emotional, practical, or just social life as we get older? Because I feel that that is missing, and we are dealing with a lot of difficulty right now, um, especially with men and women over 50 today. Because I'm going to give you my reasons that this is happening. And this has a lot to do with my talking to others who are having this issue. So I understand. Love Doctor, just sometimes, I study it. It's the correct. I do study relationships and how to find it and how to keep it, how to enhance it. And I give you meaningful ideas and solutions. Okay. But what is happening is that I am getting more older men and women who are having an issue with relationships. And I'm going to give you some of them, and then I'm going to hopefully help give you some tips. So this I'll do maybe about 5 now, and then I'll do it again because it may take I don't want the video to be too long. But if I see that I'm moving pretty well, then I'll go ahead and give you 5 more reasons that it may be difficult dating as we get older. Okay, so I feel that, and thank you for following me. And remember to go in the link in the description, and make sure you let everyone know that I'm here and I'm helping you with your relationships, and anyone that you know that will need this information, share it with them. Because sometimes there's a lot of people who don't know about certain things that can help them, give them ideas of what they're trying to do. And sometimes we don't always have the ideas. Okay, so let's go with some of them that are going on that you're having difficulty in, dating, finding meaningful relationships. And one of those things that happen is that you limit your social circle. See, sometimes when we are a little older, over 50, we're really in our world of possibly our career, because we're winding down to retire. We're now empty nesters finally. And so we're focusing on self more. And sometime during that time, you may end up in a divorce, or you may have never had a marriage, or you just haven't had a long-term relationship at this time. And so now you're out here, working on dating. And what happens is, as we age, our networks shrink due to that. You see what I mean? Because you're so focused on your career, your family responsibility, friends that you know or used to know, they moved away. So you have fewer opportunities to really get out and meet. And so it does matter that things that you need to do. And I'll tell you in a minute about the limited social circles. Okay. And then the other thing is your standards. And of course, your self-awareness of self, like I just said previously, that as we get older, we tend to have a clearer sense of what we really, really want, right? We really know what we want in a partner. We know what makes us happy, what we desire. So we're a little more selective and less willing to settle. And because now you know. You done been there, done it. You done dealt with all kind of different types of relationship, and you're just not gonna keep dealing with the things that you've been dealing with before. You now have made a conscious decision about what you truly, truly want. You got me? And so your standards have just changed. Then you don't want past baggage. And because of that, you may have trust issues. And that happens because sometimes in previous failed relationship, as I just talked about, you're getting divorced, betrayal, and people treated you a certain way. You get more guarded. You're hesitant to open up. You're not as trusting anymore. And you're fearful of repeating your past. So this is what's happening now as we get older, because we've been there, done it. And then you're less patient. I think a lot of times we're less patient. You're just not gonna you're not gonna have deal with no games. You don't have time for the games. You don't want to be with someone. And you know, guys, how I talk about how you have to have chemistry and you have to have similar likes. And if it's mismatched and the goals are not the same, like if that person wanted to get married and you don't, or you just differ in the lifestyle, got me? Then you can create, barriers. And that happens because, it's just, you're not going to deal with, the games, right? You're just not, because it can be frustrating out there dating. And when you're meeting someone, if they're not upfront and not being themselves and playing games, you're just not going to be interested. The other thing is that you be out there dating. You've been out there looking for somebody, hoping you can find somebody, but the quality has declined. It's not really many people out there. The older you get, the fewer the men and women become. And just like I just said, they're not as into dating or wanting to be in another relationship, because like I said, they may have just came out of divorce and they just don't want to deal with that anymore. They right now just want to be into themselves. And so they just don't want to get involved in that kind of atmosphere again, getting out there dating and trying to find someone. So I'm going to go on and just give you more what I think is, because we're moving right along. It's not that long. Some other reasons is that I think technology has a lot of issue with the dating, because there's so many dating apps out there and people are not really truly being themselves. And they're giving you a perception of what they think you want. They're giving you an idea of what they think you like in a man or a woman. And so they're therefore putting what they want in that app, who they are, and so you have fewer choices. And so you don't want to do it anymore. I think sometimes everybody was up into it a couple of years ago, but it's just a little too much, and so I feel like maybe you just don't want to do that anymore. And you know how you guys know how I feel if you're following me. I believe you should meet someone face to face, because your desire is what you see at that moment, not in a delay. You got me? And when you do a dating app, you're, again, only seeing what people want you to see. And so you really don't know if that person is the now, because they're giving you what they want you to see. I think, it gets difficult as we get older is because we have more family responsibility. And we become possibly grandparents. And so your children are leaving they're leaving the children with you. So you really don't really get a chance to go out there that much. And so you have more responsibility as you get older. If you might still be working, and so you have financial obligations that you have to deal with. And this can be draining. The dating can be draining. You can make it harder for you because it's harder to prioritize when you have grandchildren, and especially when you're trying to work and you're trying to figure out how I'm going to date and get out with somebody because I got all that going on, The other thing is that you fear of it not working, and you don't want to get your emotions involved, and someone lets you down, and you don't want to be rejected, um, and it could be based on because you had so many years to be an independent, so you fear that vulnerability within getting out there, and so it comes off as difficult, And then the social stigma that they give about us, and I ain't gonna say us, but I'm over 50. The stigma of us aging, they make us feel like we're too old, and you're not too old. So they pressure you into acting not your age. And when you want to act your age, they're discouraging you seeking new people because of this talk of you're too old, which is it's what you make it. It's what you feel about yourself in having meaningful relationships, because they can be better. Because and everything has to do with your readiness, your availability, the time, your prioritizing, the desire to date again. Yeah, because it's not easy when we get older. Yes, the picking could be slim. But you know how I say, you got to pick and choose where you go about. So I'm going to give you a little advice about these various things that may help you. You know how I do it. I give you solutions to these various things, and it will help you. So we're going to roll back through the ones I talked about, and I'm going to give you ideas of each one that I feel work. So let's talk about the limited social circles. So if you're in not out there going out anymore because things have changed, right? You've got to start back reconnecting with old friends. And I'm telling you, sometime it work. And I think it work if we could do it all together. But when you got one doing the work, I'll give you an example. So I got a girlfriend of mine. She wants to start putting us all together. And to meet out once, I think, is it once a month or every other month? I thought it was once a month, but it's been a little difficult because she wants to choose the day between her and another young lady. She doesn't ask everybody in the group, okay, what's a good day this month to get together? So she's always concerned about one particular person. But it's always about eating out. So you're meeting out to spend your money to eat, to kiki with some girls for a couple of hours that you just was with a month ago. And that's fine, but why can't we find other things to do besides sitting and kiki and talking? And this is why some people get to the point where they don't want to go. It's just like we're not like-minded. This is not working because you're not asking. And so I said, hey, why don't you find a different day to do it? There's events that go on each month. You could come up with things to everybody to meet at in the park or something, and bring our tent and our chairs and our food, and let's sit and kiki and laugh like that. She doesn't know how to think out of the box, right? And so I try to give her ideas, but you know how you have some people that just want to be the boss? She wants to be the boss. So, okay, well, I can't do you if you want to be the boss. If you don't want to come up with ideas for us to get together, I'm going to let you be great. And I'm going to go over here and deal with this group that want to have some fun. You got what I'm saying? So you've got to reconnect with old friends, but you got to, let's share. Let's come together. If you're in a relationship, reconnect and introduce your partner, your new partner, or someone you're dating, or someone you're going out with. Get involved in community events and get out. Find out what's going on each month and get with your friends and go to these events. Or or go to the event by yourself. You don't have to go with somebody to have fun. You can go by yourself. You don't have to. It's okay. You'll meet someone. That's how it works. Okay? So it's okay. The other thing I talked about was your standards, right? You have a higher, your standards have gotten to a point, right? And your self-awareness about self. You've got to balance your standards with flexibility. You got to have some non-negotiables, right? You've got to focus on your shared values. You got to share those things and, try to come together and date with intentions, right? You've got to be able to communicate what you're really looking for early. Guys, I talk about that. That you have to let someone know what it is that you like and you don't like, what you want and you don't want. And you have to be true about that. You got me? Your past relationship, I talked about that. Past relationships have nothing to do with now. You have to let go and you have to trust what's happening now. And you got to stop having, and let me have a conversation with it. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine that every time I talk to him, he talks about his ex-wife situations, not talk about her, but situations that happened that he didn't like. Now, that's fine, but I've been knowing him 8 years. So why do a person have to constantly hear about what you didn't like about somebody that you were married to or that you dated? No one wants to keep hearing about your past trauma or your drama. After the first couple of years, I think you need to move on. We should have been through this. We don't have to keep reliving a story off of the basis of what you're saying. You've got to, if you can't and you're not healed, then you need to get some therapy. I'm just saying, you got to go get some therapy, get some help to deal with the issues that you're having. Because obviously, you're not over whatever you experience. And I feel sometimes it's a trust issue. It's an intimacy issue. It involves a lot of things like that. But you've got to give the new person that come into your life a chance. And you can't keep repeating the past conversations over and over and reliving the past mistakes. That relationship is old. I've been knowing him 8 years. He's probably been divorced when I met him at the time, 6 years. So we're talking about 15 years that you still talking about somebody. You understand? Whatever. And that sounds like that's some therapy healing you need. Because I don't talk about my ex at all. What? I don't want to talk about the bad or the good. It doesn't matter. That relationship is gone. That relationship is over. And I'm trying to move forward. And you got to give somebody a fair chance to get to know you, And you don't have to rush into intimacy. You don't have to rush into having this relationship because trust builds. It takes time. You don't have to rush into that. Okay? Now, the other one I talked about was the patience. And you don't have patience, less patience, or you don't have time for games. Put it that way. If I'm saying that way, you don't have time for that. You have to be upfront about your expectations. Like I said, you got to communicate. You have to explain to somebody about what you want. And you have to communicate that. And if you don't have patience, you got to avoid those dating apps I talked about. You got to avoid, because like I said, what did I say? You're going to get people who are going to give you a perception of what they want you to see or be or who you are. You got me? You don't have time for that, because those, in a sense, become casual flings a lot of times, I feel. I'm not saying it happens for everybody. That ain't everybody, but there are certain platforms that are for older daters. So you can look for that. There's some of the apps, the most I don't like, but there are some apps that may be out there for us as older daters. I'm not saying it, and it's not going. You're not going to get that person's high school picture. What I'm saying is, it could be, it could be, but I'm just saying, you got to have some patience, and if it don't work, just walk away from that. If it's not something that you see with people, and you don't, and they lying to you and playing games, just walk away. You don't have to stay with somebody that is not aligned with you. You got me? Okay. Now let's talk about our level stages of life. Okay. So we have different life stages that we prioritize, right? And we may be at different levels in our time. And I'll give you an example. So I have a friend that I'm retired, but he's not, right? And so I have more free time. I have more opportunities to go places, do things. I'm not restricted, but he's restricted. And it's difficult for us to really give much time because our priorities are different. Okay. So you have your kids. Now the question is, do we get married again? Because our kids are gone. So do we marry again? Do we get back in a relationship? Are our lifestyles aligned together to come together? Because it's not balanced right now. And so our activity versus our work life is different. Our travel life may be different. Our vacation life may be different. What we do may be different. So we will have to compromise. And are you willing to do that? So when you have different life stages, you've got to prioritize and you got to compromise. I'm not saying sacrifice your life, right? I'm just saying compromise. So there's things that you can do, but it's going to be a difference, because if you're dealing with somebody, like I said, the way I have, and we're at different stages, then you're going to have those issues. Okay. So you have to kind of be mindful of that. When I talked about that dating app before, and I said you're not going to get what someone wants you to be. So your dating pool may be smaller. So here's my thing about a solution with that is, you got to expand your search. I wouldn't just do dating apps. And I have talks about how to meet people, where to meet people, the best places. And as I talked about just earlier, it was the social circles, getting out and being more active in community and events and going places. That can help greater chances of, finding a meaningful relationship. You've got to just get out more and overlook the mismatch. You might find somebody that's taller than you, shorter than you. It may not be the same. They may be different than what they were before. The chemistry may, come together, but like I said, that's a conversation you have to have. And just let them know you're open to dating, and you all come together with a way of talking about it. But when you're dealing with the dating apps and you feel overwhelmed and there's, not enough time, it's too much to search someone, you get burned out on those dating apps, because I understand as you get older, you're trying to find someone that you can relate to. So like I was saying, try some of those dating apps that's related more to singles, something that may be about, I think they got this club called the Silver Fox or the Silver Singles. I don't know, do something like that. You got what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's the name of the dating apps. I have to do a talk about specifically dating apps and talk about how they are. So I can do that. And what I'll do, let me make notes that I'll talk about dating apps and the pros and the cons and the ones that are working for now as you're older. So I'll do a talk about that. And so just check out some apps that's based on our, older, just Google dating apps for people over 50. You got it? Put that in there like that. And then that way it'll help you meet someone on the dating scene. But you got to prioritize your life connections by, like I said, being active. You got to get back active if you want to get out there and meet someone as we get older. The other thing was responsibilities, which that has a lot to do with your family. A lot of times when we get older, some of us have grandchildren, some of us don't, but we have those grandchildren, and we let them sometimes block our dating life. So, but what you have to do is try to schedule the meet time based on if you with your grandchildren more often, and schedule your involvement with your grandchildren and your family so that you can have dating time with someone that you just met on and you want to become serious with. And don't let the family take over. You got me? You find someone that you date and you want to get to date, you have to give them time like you would give your grandchildren time and your children, okay? So you have to, prioritize that. Now, I think the last one I think I'll talk about is, I think it was about aging. I talked about aging, how people put this stigma on us as you get over 50 that it's harder for you to find someone and it's harder for you to meet. I feel that it's not hard. And I'm going to give you just some simple, quick solutions to what it takes for us to meet each other. There are older men, there are older women that desire wanting to date and meet. You have to be confident about the opportunity of meeting somebody. You have to know that other people are supportive of dating and wanting to get out there. And you have to make sure you surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are dating, who are getting out, who are meeting, who are encouraging, being happy and enjoying life and doing things. You got to ignore those outdated comments that are made, because we could fulfill relationship as we did in our 20s and 30s, and we could do the same in our 50s, 60s, and 70s. So don't let anyone say, hey, you're too old. It's not difficult because we're older. It seems to be difficult as you get older. It's not. We're talking about you're finding meaningful relationships. And to find meaningful relationships, you have to you have to have conversations, and you have to ask questions. You have to have a connection with a person that you're talking to. And it may come with risk, but that's all relationships. The risk may be you may get rejected. It may be that you're not their type. You may be looking, not as, healthy as you want to be. But there's always still somebody for somebody who is desiring different things. Don't let your thought process thinking that because, oh, you know, I'm not moving around as much that I'm not able to meet someone. That's furthest from the truth. You're able, just get out and go to places and enjoy and let go of the past and just connect with someone that can make you happy, that can laugh with you, do things with you, and just enjoy life. Okay? So I hope the information that I gave you will help you understand that it's okay about it being difficult, but it's you just don't make it difficult. There's meaningful relationships out there as you get older. Just, think about the things I said, go back over the video and listen to the ideas that I gave you. But I'll do my best to keep on helping you find love no matter what age you are. So I hope that this topic helped you out. And remember, if you're single, just be patient, and just enjoy life. And you'll meet the person that makes you happy, that wants to spend time with you. And if you're already in the relationship at an older age, enjoy it. Stay happy. Be at peace. Enjoy. So thank you for joining the Love Dr. Pamela Smith. Thank you for being a part. We'll be back as we continue to talk more about love, love, love.